Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Grumman Pilots YouTube channel, directly supporting the Grumman Pilots Association. And we're going to talk about our first ever wrench and elbow bending that we had in Phoenix, Arizona. And Ken was there, Rags was there, I was there, and we had a good time. This P-51 heard about the great maintenance and they showed up. This is actually a $2.5 million restoration, and the airport owner loves when the guy comes up to the fuel pump. As with any gathering of Grummans, people just love to look at our airplanes. And not only do they look at airplanes, but there are chat groups everywhere talking about what is going on. We even had one guy, Jeff, who flew in from New Mexico with his companion, Phoenix. And here's Phoenix sleeping in the back of his airplane. And here's Phoenix walking around on the ramp with folks. So people attended and they brought their pets. A good time was had by all. And of course, as at any gathering, food's involved. So when we cook, we serve food to everybody. And John Cotter did the honor of cooking this while the event was going on. Thank you very much, John. Rags and Ken are here checking the loose bearing on the right aileron. It's the 902013-1 aileron bearing that's also used on the rudder in the elevator. And then you have here gathering a bunch of folks at the torque tube, all clean, Ken showing how to do it and how to do it. When you have these things, crowds gather and they watch as Ken shows how to assemble the outboard aileron counterweight and what to look for. You also get some surprises, like airplane flew in with Gary Voigt's Jaguar cow, so we all got to take a look at the Jaguar cow. And as in any day that we work on airplanes all day, at the end of the day we have a few beers and we discuss and answer the questions. And that's just pretty much how the GP operates, all on a volunteer basis. Now, one airplane flew in just after his brand new Lycon engine install, and yet look at the grommet for the spark plug wires. So we got the correct 67-cent grommet from out of stock, replaced it, put in some RTV, and he is now ready to go. While we're also at these wrench bendings and other gatherings, we give rides to people who've never been in a grommet, and here's Laura Withrow. She just had her commercial truck ride, and her smile says it all. She enjoys flying a Grumman. We're getting ready to bring the Tiger in, and here's John Cotter showing us right on the floor where the airplane needs to go. Now we're bringing the airplane in out of the sun to remove the canopy, and as he's doing it, Ken's showing the game he invented, broken tow bar. Now, once it's in out of the hangar, we began taking the canopy off. We had a lot of volunteers. That part of the work went fine. Now, while the canopy's off, you want to clean the turtle deck. And here are Ken and Jeff cleaning the turtle deck, which is under the canopy, which cannot be got to. It's cleaned and waxed. And you might as well do it while you're there. Excuse me. Also, too, before the canopy goes back on, you want to clean the canopy tracks. And as you can see, here's what a dirty track looks like. And of course, we see this a lot in Grumman. And you take it over to the parts washer, you clean everything, and when you're all done, you'll have two rails like the one on the right ready to go back in your airplane. And it makes the canopy roll go, and they don't wear. These rails are getting hard to come by. Now, Ken is showing us on the turtle deck the back seal of the canopy and how everything goes on it. And as you can see, there's quite a crowd of folks that are sitting around enjoying what Ken has to say. Now, as with these events, you get to about the middle of the day, and it's time people start thinking about food. And so here's the food line. There's Rags working the grill, Jimmy helping to assemble things, but everything went really well. The serving line moved fast, and folks went off to sit and eat. That's John Cotter on the right. Again, John, thank you for doing all the cooking while we were all having a great time talking about you. And then, as with anything, we can now sit for food because now Ken has his food. And it sure does get quiet when folks sit down to eat. And we like to let people have a little rest. There is a little light discussion going on, and a few questions were answered. But all in all, a very good time had by all the folks. Now, with the canopy going back on, Ken points out why the front seal is being destroyed. Somewhere in the past, the plastic spacers behind the metal trim that hold the canopy seal were not reinstalled. This put the seal just a hair aft and destroyed the seal. Now, here's Roscoe looking at a loose seat bracket. He's changing out all the bolts and getting that seat back into place. what we're looking here is nose to nose, two airplanes looking at the baffle seals. We have a set that Ken installed over 10 years ago, and as you can see, they still look fairly good, and they're still doing a good job of cooling the aircraft. As we turn to the airplane on the other end of the nose-to-nose confrontation, Ken points out why these seals need some attention. And so he goes over the baffle seals a little bit of time and explains what to do where and why it's done that way so that you can have proper cooling and not having to go for any fancy mods or other things for cooling. We also compare the two bellies of the airplane. One aircraft has a very shiny, clean belly, as you can see here. It looks gorgeous. But then when you compare it to the one across the way, we actually had to use some light. It was so dark under there, we had to reflect some light in to show you all the oil swirls on the belly of that aircraft. We also have an AGAC and another aircraft getting ready for a night flight home to a local airport from Stellar Airpark, and here they are getting ready to go. And then at the end of the day, we all went out to a nice restaurant and had a good time. And that's what it's all about in the GPA, meeting folks and having fun. And then a nice Comanche is being flown back home. This was restored by a gentleman who is now restoring a Tiger. And then finally, these folks showed up, and we tried to talk them down to come and see us, but we had no such luck. So we hope you found all this useful and informative. Thanks for watching, and have a good day flying your Grumman.